Explanation for my blood pressure, monitoring results and why I request a medication adjustment. Number 1447, November 25, 2025. Prepared by Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category: Stroke and Hypertension Medication. Preface: This piece of writing serves as a personal note on my post-stroke blood pressure management. Its quality is not intended to match that of a formal medical research paper. However, it contains important observations about the value of big data, the difference between averages and outliers in stroke analysis, and the different roles that diabetes and hypertension play in stroke causality. Therefore, I decided to document it and keep it in my research work files. Self-assessment of this writing. Although this is not a formal research paper, I believe it has meaningful value. It provides a rare combination of personal experience, quantitative big data, viscoplastic analysis, and practical lessons for stroke survivors. Most patients do not measure blood pressure 16 times a day, build AI tools, or understand why acute spikes, not averages, cause strokes, and the danger of hemorrhagic strokes in the pons area. This writing explains these ideas and information in plain language. It is informative for other patients, because it highlights real risks such as acute hypertension, hypotension, dizziness, falling, vessel calcification, and vessel vulnerability after a hemorrhagic stroke. It also shows how lifestyle, continuous, data tracking, and strict prevention are more important than definitions or medical textbook averages. In terms of quality, this piece is intentionally simpler than my other research papers, but the scientific thinking, analytical precision, and big data approach are consistent with my overall medical research work. Compared with typical clinical case notes or standard medical papers, this writing contains richer data, deeper analytical results and reasoning, and a unique perspective from someone who survived a pontine hemorrhage. Therefore, I consider this writing useful, informative, and aligned with the spirit of my medical research approach. Information to my primary physician. I survived a hemorrhagic stroke in the pons area on June 21, 2025. The mortality rate reported in medical literature for pontine hemorrhage is about from 40 to 80%. I survived once, but I cannot afford a second stroke. My goal is strict prevention, not reaction. To protect myself, I built a complete cardiovascular monitoring and analysis system using my background in mathematics, computer science, physics, engineering, and AI algorithm design. I measure my blood pressure 16 times each day. In past 140 days, this gives me 2,240 BP measurements and 11,200 data points. Each measurement includes 5 biomarkers: SBP, DBP, HR, PP, pulse pressure, and MAP, mean arterial pressure. My custom medical AI system on my iPhone automatically calculates PP and MAP in real time, stores all results, and can generate any data table or chart on demand. I analyze and explore deeper insights into my blood pressure profile, using 3 scientific frameworks. 1. Viscoplasticity, to study overall energy levels and mechanical stress on weakened vessels. 2. Topology, to study geometric drift, continuity of data points, and abnormal data patterns. 3. Pathophysiology, to study biological triggers behind each spike. Through my viscoplastic energy and topological geometry research, I have identified the root cause of my stroke: vessel calcification. My vascular calcification formed mainly during my uncontrolled diabetes period from 1990 to 2009. About 91% of the calcification occurred during those 20 years, when I relied only on medications and did not change my lifestyle. The remaining 9% was formed during the 16 years from 2010 to 2025, when I used lifestyle control without medications. Calcification occurs at the cellular and microstructural level, inside vessel walls. These changes are almost irreversible and cannot be repaired by myself, or by any current medications. Because I cannot reverse these old damages, I have only one option left, to prevent my vessels from experiencing another one-time high blood pressure trigger. By clinical definition, I am not a chronic hypertension patient, but definitions do not matter to me. My survival matters. I do not pay attention to averages because averages do not cause strokes. One acute BP peak at 175 mm of mercury on June 21, 2025 triggered my stroke. A single sudden spike ruptured my vessel. Therefore, my goal is to detect early upward drift in SBP before dangerous peaks occur. Here is my recent SBP pattern. From July to September, about 90 days, I had 3 events where SBP reached 140 to 149. From October to now, about 50 days, I already have 7 events. 133% increase, in the same range of 140 to 149, even though these counts are small. Compared to my dataset of 2,240 SBP readings, the trend is upward. My system shows more frequent events in the 130 to 139 range. From 20 times to 80 times, about 400% higher, and in the 140 to 149 range, about 133% higher. This is an early warning signal to me. My purpose is not academic. Everything I do has one goal: preventing a second stroke. I survived once when most patients do not. Nobody can rely on luck twice. I do not believe in luck. I trust science, data, and strict prevention. Based on this upward SBP drift, I am requesting a slight increase in my blood pressure, medication dosage to bring the upper range of my SBP back down, and prevent future spikes above 150. My request is based on 2,240 BP measurements, my scientific analysis, and clear evidence of drift. I am not a medical doctor, and I have not spent much time studying chemistry, pharmacology, or medications. This is why I am asking for your professional knowledge, experience, and guidance regarding my blood pressure medication dosage. Based on my recent BP pattern and the upward drift in SBP, should the dosage be increased or adjusted in another way? Thank you for your guidance and for helping me protect my life and avoid a second stroke. My primary physician's instruction: increase amlodipine from 2.5 mg daily to 5 mg daily. Continue to monitor your blood pressure closely. If the average systolic blood pressure, SBP, becomes less than 110 mm of mercury, or if you develop symptoms of low blood pressure, such as dizziness or weak leg movements, reduce the dose back to 2.5 mg daily. Do not throw away your 2.5 mg bottle, because you may need it again. Key points of our conversation: she reviewed my report carefully. She agreed that in my case, I must focus on acute hypertension peaks, rather than average numbers, because a sudden spike could trigger another stroke. She also agreed that the primary danger for me, taking 5 mg of amlodipine daily, is hypotension. For example, if my average SBP falls below 110 mm of mercury, it becomes risky for a senior patient who recently had a stroke, because low BP could cause dizziness, falling, and injury. After 3 months, I will have another 90 days of BP data, which will include 8,640 total readings, with 1,440 SBP data points, average 16 measurements per day. This new information will provide deeper insight into my blood pressure patterns. During the next 90 days, if my SBP remains low continuously, I will return to the 2.5 mg daily dosage. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is provided for educational reference only, and does not constitute medical or financial advice. No doctor-patient or advisor-client relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C.